what I'd like to suggest is that we approach this from the standpoint of assumptions we make that we're bringing to infuse in our work, or value orientation principles. First is cyber democracy. The fundamental problem of the digital divide is a very serious question. It's a question of literacy. Right? I grew up, standard literacy was, would you read and write your own name? Enter into contracts, write letters, read a newspaper, and so forth. That's not the standard of literacy today. The standard of literacy today is what software do you know? Okay? So the point I'm trying to make here is cyber democracy means access to technology for all. Not just access, but knowing how to use it. Mastering various processes that are required, whether it's working with a word processing package or some kind of spreadsheet, some kind of data processing programs. All right, so cyber democracy. Everybody having access to and the ability to use technology. Secondly, collective intelligence. Now, we all know that part of the struggle in a class society, in a hierarchical society, is that the further up you go, the more freedom and the more control you have over the things that make sense in the society for everyone. The ability to consume, to have the opportunity not only to have ideas, but to generate, disseminate, and impose those ideas on everybody else. Collective intelligence means that what we have to do is to move from a vertical hierarchical understanding to horizontal understanding. And therefore, collective intelligence in the context of information technology means that we're not simply downloaders, that is to say, accessing the technology and the information that is made available to you by corporations, but rather to become uploaders. That is to say, that the key concept that if you don't remember anything I say today, remember the word digitization. It is the process of moving from the actual to the virtual. Everyone here must become an uploader of information to take into your own hands this technology and begin to digitize the world in which you live. You know, frankly, I've been doing a lot of this thinking about Noah's Ark. Now, one of the interesting things about that story is that it's in the Bible and the Quran. And many other belief systems in the world refer to that. The essential meaning of the story is God was very upset because humanity was screwing up. And he brought the wrath of nature. But, as the story goes, the ark was the preservation of life. So that life could expand and we could live again. Have another shot at it. Now, today, we see the same screw-ups. And some people would argue that the ark is a gated community. Well, the ark is a privileged environment in which the benefits of living large come to you as a matter of course, regardless of whether you feel or not about the other people in society. Most of us live in privileged environments, some more than others, but we're all privileged. Everyone. I mean, college students where I go to, first generation, working class kids, now 2 generations divorced from the factory floor. Okay? Who live in communities where there's no salad bar. So when they go to the dorm, and you can get yogurt and 3 kinds of bread, and a salad bar, 2 entrees and veg, you are eating better than anybody in your community. So we're all privileged. That's the point I'm trying to make here. Right? You don't have to have Brie and Merlot to be privileged. So my point is collective intelligence. Now the third principle is very important. Information freedom. We have all become victims of the commodification process of our lives. We think conventionally that the way to live is to consume and to really create commodities. Right? And many of us believe that the road forward is the commodification of black intellectual history. Now, this is because mostly that was the only way to disseminate your ideas. Now, we know that there are other tendencies in our community. When Langston Hughes got in that car and drove around and spoke in churches and read those poems, etc., he wasn't hustling preachers, etc., for honoraria and making money. He had to live. But we have not always been as victimized by commodification as we are today. That's my opinion. And the solution to that is information freedom. Now, what's interesting about it is that many people would think that's an ideological proposition that somehow runs counter to dominant trends or rising trends in the society. I made a statement earlier that we're living in the context of a revolution. Let me make that point more clear and concrete in the context of this point about information freedom. One of the things that's happening in the realm of software, which many would believe is going to be the leading cutting edge, not so much hardware, there isn't the end to how much capacity we're going to have. We're going to have a lot. But the point is, software is going to be the real deal. That the revolution that's taking place in the world, and has taken place, and we've slept it, is open source. Yeah. It's free software.